There we go. Picture looks good. The picture looks good for my bow. Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of the Black Hunter Longbow build series. In my first video, I basically took the bow out of the box, I got it put together, I built a string for it, I threw some silencers on the string, I broke in the string, and I eventually tuned some arrows to it after I got that completed. The whole spirit of this video series is that I wanted to show people that maybe you're shooting a compound or a crossbow today, but you're very curious or interested in traditional archery. You can get into a bow for like $100 or less, and it's really going to outshoot you for a long time, maybe if ever. By the time you're able to outshoot a bow like this, you probably already own like 4 or 5 other traditional bows because this bow just shoots great. And honestly, I think that's a part of the appeal of it. It's so cheap and it shoots super good. It's just, there's things that I don't really like about it that I had to modify. Like, for instance, the grip on the bow. For the first 1, 2 weeks I was shooting this bow, I actually really hated it. But I took an orbital sander, and I'll put some close-ups here, but I was able to flatten out like this part of the bow and even the back. I really like shooting like a flat grip on the back, and this palm swell was just like insane out of the box. And honestly, that's just a preference thing. So if you buy this bow, you could love the way the grip feels right out of the box. We got a crop duster here, so hold on. But anyway, other than that, that's really the only modification I made. Um, I know some people like to adjust the tiller by sanding like the sides of the limbs and stuff. I didn't even deal with all that. Um, the bow shoots really, really good. So to be honest with you, I didn't really tune this bow as good as I would with like a regular hunting bow that I'd take in the woods because I'm not necessarily going to be taking this hunting with me. So I'll show some shots in frame here where I basically got a pretty rough tune, and it's actually pretty good. But if I was hunting, I would go the extra mile to make it better. Like you can see that they're a little bit stiff. For stump shooting, or just target shooting, this is perfect. But as soon as you throw that planing surface on the front, like a broadhead, that's when you really want to make sure that you are shooting like a perfectly tuned bow, because in a hunting situation, you are not going to get perfect ideal conditions. So when that happens, or maybe you short draw or you're in a weird stance, you're giving yourself every opportunity to have the best flying arrow that you can have. But anyway, so basically today I'm going to take this bow stump shooting and I'm going to do something a little bit different. Usually in my stump shooting videos, I cut them to make them more like enjoyable to watch. I think what I'll do today is I'll kind of walk through what I'm thinking about during my shot process, and we'll just have a good time today. So let's get started with that. All right, guys, let's get started here. I have a stump right here that's probably, if I had to guess, like maybe 15 yards. I never really bring a range. Actually, I never bring a rangefinder with me when I'm doing this because that kind of, I don't know. The whole fun of it is guessing the yardage, seeing what you can do, and I think that makes you a better hunter too. All right, so let's hit this stump here right in the middle. I'm gonna aim for the one that's right in the middle and sort of high on the stump. I haven't shot this bow for a long time, maybe weeks, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes for my first shot here. So what I'm doing here first is I'm going to address the string. I'm going to set my grip. I hope I'm in frame here. Might have to move over. I'm going to pre-aim to where I think I shoot instinctive. So I'm going to pre-aim to where I think I need to hold. I'm going to draw and hit my anchor. Oh, I need to flip my hat. Hold on 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay, hopefully the audio is still good. I had to flip my hat and move my mic and stuff. So I'm going to address the string. I'm going to set my grip, and after I set my grip and apply a little bit of tension to the string, I do not want to change my grip at all. I'll just let down and restart if that happens. So I'm going to gently rest my fingertips on the riser. I'm going to pre-aim. I'm going to come to full draw and anchor, and I can see that that's flying a little bit not where I want it. Let's try that again and see if I get the same flight. Okay, that was just my first shot. The second shot was good. So I just got to get used to the bow. The bow is very quiet. Yeah, there we go. And then this doesn't have a judo on it, but we're going to send it anyway. There we go. All right. So that first shot, I haven't shot this bow in several weeks. I just had to get used to that. All right. So this just goes to show you how useful these judo tips are. Um, that last arrow I just shot didn't have a judo tip on it. It was just a field point, and it blew completely through the stump. And I had to spend like 3 or 4 minutes trying to find that thing. So these spring arms on the judos really help a lot in recovering your arrows when you're stump shooting. Um, I actually don't think I talked about my arrow build yet for these. So it's a 400 spine gold tip hunter, which I love these gold tip hunters. They're cheap and they're durable. They just last and they shoot good, better than I can. So that's what I run. I found some super cheap weighted inserts on Amazon. I think they're 150 grains, like they're made out of brass. So I'm running that. They're made for that 246 inside diameter. And then 150 grain judo tip. So I actually don't think I even weighed these. If I had to guess, I'm probably definitely north of 550, but under 600. So that's what I think they are. But yeah, let's keep going here. All right, let's see if we can do a little better on this one. Now that I have a few reps under me. This stump is about the same distance here, so let's see what we can do. I'm going to aim about middle of this stump. So I'm hitting my draw. I'm making sure my elbow is back. My sight picture looks good. There we go. Let's try to do that again. All right, address the string. Get a good grip. Draw. I'm at anchor and my elbow is in good alignment. My sight picture looks good, and I'm just going to let it send. And let's try to do it one more time. All right. Address the string. Set the grip. Pre-aim. Anchor. Alignment is good, but my sight picture's off. So I'm going to lower my bow. And just like that. I was just picking up my arrows and I found this thing. Do you guys have any idea what this is? Because my best guess is someone was held down here and tortured beyond their will. But in better news, it looks like we're having good white oak acorn drops this year already. Season's a couple weeks away now. All right, this shot is like 23 yards if I had to guess, and it's through some brush, so this could get pretty gnarly. And it's important, I want to point out, if you do this to practice for hunting, it's a great idea to shoot through brush like this because you're really going to get a good idea of how your arrows react. And if you don't do it, you might just think in your head like, oh, I shoot a heavy arrow, it's going to bust through anything. But the reality of the situation is that it's not. So you should be testing things like that just so you have a frame of reference for when you're in your tree stand or on the ground and you want to shoot through some brush. You have some past prior knowledge about how that arrow might react. All right. So the stump is like 23 yards if I had to guess. I have no idea where to hold for that. I'm going to probably hold it a little bit lower than point on. There is a stick in front of it. And what I tend to do when there's an object like that in front of me is I kind of just ignore that it's there in a way, because if I found that if I try to compensate for it, I just blow the shot and it like sails way over it or something like that. So if an object like that was in front of a deer, I wouldn't take it. I would just wait. But let's just see what happens here. So I'm going to address the string, set my grip, uh, pre-aim, and I'm going to hold a little bit lower than point on, I guess. So let's draw, get into full alignment. Oh, okay. Actually, that was a great shot, and I did hit that thing in front of me. But I can promise you, if I was trying to compensate for that, I would have sailed that arrow somewhere. So I'm actually pretty happy with that shot. Let's try it again. I found that I have to cant this bow a little bit more than I do on my Hoitsutori, my main bow. On my Hoitsutori, I really like shooting that vertical. I have a springy rest on it with a push AccuTune. And it just feels more natural for me to hold that bow vertical. But for this, I'm shooting off the shelf. I kind of feels better canting it slightly. So let's try that again. Perfect. All right, I'm happy with that shot. Let's try it again. And I don't know if that's 23 yards, but I'm in my mind I'm holding for it like it's 23 yards, and it seems to be working. So that's all that matters to me. All right, let's try it again. All right, I'm happy with that group at 23 yards. All right, guys, I'm gonna shoot for the end of this log here. I'm sort of just like, these thoughts are occurring to me as I'm doing this on things that I don't even really think about, but might be helpful. Um, so a shot like this is kind of simulating like a higher pressure shot to me, because the stump is elevated, or the object I'm trying to hit is elevated. So if I miss, I'm going to be spending some time looking for my arrows for sure. And I think it's important to simulate shots like that if you want to go hunting, because you need a way to, some people run and do like burpees and stuff and shoot their bow, which is awesome. But um, honestly, I don't feel like doing that right now. But I can simulate some pressure with the fact that I don't feel like spending 15 minutes looking for my arrows. So if I lose one, so be it. But this is a good drill for me. All right, I think the shot is like 14 yards. Nah, it's probably closer to 15 or 16, I guess. I don't know. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna aim right for the center. I'm really gonna take my time. See? Okay. Maybe it's further than I think. Luckily, I hit the tree behind it, so I don't have to go looking for my arrow, but I'm definitely probably gonna have to wedge it out somehow. Let's try it again. There we go. That's better. All right. I can see the arrow, but that was fun. We're gonna do that one again. And I'm going to shut up while I do it, because this is a good one. All right. That's why we practice. So I actually lost that judo point in shooting that log end, because I guess I was shooting into the grain of the wood and it was a little tougher. Honestly, that's just the name of the game, and it's worth it to me to get this sort of infield practice, because, and I look at it the same way. If you go like offshore, like reef fishing, you're going to lose rigs. It just happens. So it's just the name of the game. And I wouldn't trade it, because I'm getting real field practice shooting in the woods, which is really invaluable. All right, guys, that's it for me. I just wanted to show how much fun you can have with a cheap bow like this. Getting out into the woods, stump shooting. You can really, this is the kind of bow that you can learn on and just take with you for years. And you really don't need to upgrade if you don't want to. But honestly, if you haven't done traditional archery yet and you get a bow like this, I guarantee you will do it for years, because it's just so much fun. Everyone that I know that's, tried traditional archery just gets sucked into it. So if you like this video, please subscribe, like, and comment. I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you.